Start by just thanking our Speaker, Nancy Pelosi, thank leadership of the Senate, particularly Chuck Schumer, for the stimulus bill that was just announced. We are hopeful that it will not only pass, but hopeful it will fulfill the promises that are being made in terms of its impact. No one is naive about the magnitude of this crisis, and I'm not suggesting that the magnitude of this stimulus will even meet the moment. I certainly have strong points of view that there'll need to be more in the future. But let me just acknowledge good work, and let me just acknowledge progress. And that progress is manifest. The state of California, by our back-of-the-envelope estimate, as we process more of the details of the stimulus bill, will be the beneficiary of over $10 billion just in the state block grant portion of the package. Some $5.5 billion alone will go to the state itself. The rest will go to our cities and counties. That does not include all of the other specific, very direct support that is also part of the stimulus bill. This bill will be very helpful and is very timely as we're in the process of distributing billions and billions of dollars of cash to procure PPE, to procure locations and sites, to secure the safety, the public health and safety of the people of the state of California. So on behalf of the nation's largest state, as governor of the world's fifth largest economy, the state of California, let me applaud the Speaker, applaud Senator Schumer, applaud the Democratic leadership and the compromise that was advanced with Republicans for meeting this moment, noting that this moment in a week or two may necessitate further moments of support, particularly to individuals, not just states, not just to businesses, not just to industries, but to individuals themselves that have been most impacted by this virus. And let me be specific about what I mean by that. We're very pleased with the increase in unemployment benefits, up to $600 on top of what states are already providing. In the state of California, we provide on a weekly basis unemployment insurance grants from anywhere from $40 to as much as $450. And this package would provide for an additional $600 on top of that, so for over $1,000 a week for many Californians. And by the way, the reason I say it's timely, we just passed the 1 million mark in terms of the number of claims just since March 13th. 1 million Californians have now claimed the need to get unemployment insurance, so this cannot happen soon enough. But the magnitude of what happened in 2008 is still manifest for millions of Californians. We still have people that are struggling to get back to where they were before the Great Recession that most recently was defined by Lehman Day, September 15th, 2008, which marked an important moment. People are older and still struggling. And so these are individuals that once again are disproportionately being impacted by this moment. And that's why I say we need to focus on those faces, on their stories, not just the face of government, not just the face of business, but on the faces of individuals day in and day out that are struggling to make ends meet, struggling to feed their family, to feed themselves, to get to the needs of their small businesses. Small businesses need more support. Small business is not something for me that's an abstract. I am proud to have created 23 small businesses in the state of California and employed hundreds and hundreds of workers. I have deep appreciation and respect for the entrepreneurs throughout this country and certainly in the state of California. And I can assure you, even with the significant improvements advanced by the leadership of Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, we still need to do more for small business, for nonprofits, and others. So again, I want to just compliment the work that was done. We are very supportive here in the state of California of advancing this bill and having that stimulus do the work that we are all hopeful it will do in real time. We've had wonderful conversations, by the way, to that end. Just got off the phone with Senator Harris, who's been an extraordinary leader for our state, working hand in hand with our partners throughout state agencies, local agencies, and nonprofits to work to delineate exactly what we needed to prioritize Senator Feinstein accordingly, and I can't say it enough, the incredible leadership of Speaker Nancy Pelosi. But when we talk about unemployment insurance, we talk about a $600 increase beyond what states are already providing on a weekly basis for the next 4 months. That doesn't mean much when you are facing the burden and the costs associated with, for example, your mortgage. Residential mortgages being top of mind, I imagine, for families all across not only this state, but across the country. Over the course of the last few weeks, we've been sitting down with banks large and small, credit unions large and small throughout the state of California, and been in contact with national bank and CEOs around the United States. I personally have had conversations with the heads of JP Morgan, the head of US Bank, Wells Fargo, a number of other of our nation's largest institutions, and state banks like East West Bank here in the state of California. Some 200 state chartered banks and credit unions have committed to the state of California that they will provide forbearance on foreclosures and on mortgage payments. That is significant. But the nation's bank, we were encouraged to do the same. And I'm very pleased that Wells Fargo, US Bank, Citi, and JP Morgan Chase have all agreed to 90-day waiver of payments for those that have been impacted by COVID-19. And that's an important point to make. It is significant that we have some consistency. It's significant that we don't have a patchwork, one bank to another. That's what happened in 2008. Credit unions doing one thing, banks doing another, state banks doing something altogether different. So we wanted to engage our nation's largest banks and see if we would create some continuity, some consistency across their ranks. And 4 of the 5 largest institutions committed to just that 90-day. Unfortunately, Bank of America did not publicly commit to that. They just committed to 30 days. I hope they will reconsider and join those other banks that are willing to do the right thing by at least extending that commitment to their customers for 90 days. While the state of California doesn't have regulatory oversight of those banks, I'm sensitive to that, and I know that the banks certainly are sensitive to that. They are also recognizing the sensitivity to their customers, not just on the issue of being able to pay their mortgages and having a grace period for 90 days, but also on credit ratings. And that's also part of the broader commitment that we have secured by those nation's 4, those 5 largest, our nation's banks, and all of the state charter banks and credit unions, counting 200 plus. And so I want to just compliment them for their willingness to engage us and our team, Ben Chita, Commissioner Alvarez, and others that have been working overtime to organize these principles and advance them. We're working on additional issues and get continuity and consistency on ATM fees, on overdraft charges as well, and we'll be announcing more details on that in the coming days. I also, though, recognize, while significant to have that continuity as it relates to residential mortgages, as a small business person, you're wondering, as a nonprofit leader, as a church leader, you're wondering what's in store in terms of next announcements, next steps for you. And know in real time, we are also working with those same institutions to socialize some continuity and some consistency to help you as well. So no, the job is not done. We're not naive, but we think this is a significant announcement. It's not just a release. It is a significant a framework to advance commitments that we have absolute certainty are real, based upon personal commitments that I received directly from the leaders of these companies, again, with the exception, unfortunately, of the Bank of America. I also want to just make a few comments about the work the state of California is doing to meet this moment as it relates to the needs for personal protective gear, as it relates to anticipating our surge capacity. I made an announcement a couple days ago that we're looking to additional 50,000 hotels, or rather units for support from hotels, motels, skilled nursing facility, and our hospitals to find additional bed capacity for acute care throughout the state of California. In terms of that 50,000 number, 30,000 was going to come from an increase of capacity within our hospital system, roughly 40% increase in their capacity and their footprint, and the rest would come 20,000 from the state of California. I'm pleased today that Seton Hospital was one of those early announcements we made. We were able to get a lease on Seton, and Seton now is already operational today. That's a significant milestone. We're not just having conversations in the abstract about finding and procuring assets, but the human resources necessary to operate those assets. And that is the significance of Seton today. It is being now staffed by the extraordinary heroes, our nurses and doctors, and we have at least the first tranche of appropriate personal protective gear that is available at that site. St. Vincent down in LA was another one of our announcements, and we're working to do the same there. And of course, the number of other hospitals that we have also identified and are in the process either of having already taken the physical asset over and in the process of securing the staffing, but also advanced